have one thing to say. War Games!
War Games!
Isn't that sad? I can't even just talk. I just have to automatic. War Games! William Regal has just really... He got me, man. But no, welcome. I want to talk about the road to War Games because things have really started to pick up really quickly, I'll say. So, on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk came out. He addressed the whole situation of Logan Paul laying him out because he got knocked out with brass knuckles. CM Paul. CM Punk got knocked out. He wanted to discuss the Logan Paul situation. Logan and the Bronx come out and they're just like ready to go to war. Jey Uso comes out. Cody Rhodes makes an appearance, right? Cody Rhodes coming out really threw me off because if I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect Cody Rhodes to be in the War Games team. When I was thinking about what the vision could be, I'm corny, don't pay me any mind. In my mind, I saw a team of Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, CM Punk, LA Knight, and Roman Reigns. Those were my five I could see. And the reason I thought that was because, we've been for months now, having those people in this feud with the Vision. So I thought storyline-wise we would go that route, if I'm being honest. But adding Cody in I don't think is a bad idea. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. I think it'll make the match more interesting because if we're going off storyline, obviously Roman Reigns is going to come back, right? And you have that whole situation, tension. I wouldn't really say tension because they have, their little fake, alliance, whatever, where they, respect for each other's situation. But, Roman's going to come back. And then you have Roman who has, quote-unquote beef with CM Punk. So it's when you take that into a storyline, it's And also, I'm assuming and hoping they would do 5-on-5. And we would get Jimmy Uso in it as well with Roman. I hope it's not 4v4 because I just love Jimmy Uso so much, And I just really want to see him a part of it. I feel like it would be even better because you have the situation of Roman, the last time we saw Roman, he was upset with the Usos. You have so many factors of different ways storylines can go and so much tension and beef with everyone, right? Because with Roman coming back, I easily see it being a situation of, let me get into that too. With the opposing team, I think we're going to get Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar. And I know Drew McIntyre is suspended, but he's suspended on SmackDown. And Paul Heyman has the authority to make his own team, as CM Punk said to let Adam Pearce know. And I don't see Adam Pearce saying, no, he can't come because you're in a whole different brand now. Nick Aldis isn't here. So I easily see a Drew McIntyre because Cody's there, right? And obviously, my boy is Brock Lesnar. I'm going to get Brock. So with that, you have a lot of tension with that. And it makes sense to have Jimmy Uso there too, because Jimmy Uso has beef with Drew McIntyre. And, just the Bronze period. And I easily see a situation of maybe Drew McIntyre shows up on Raw next week. And, eventually, he's just stomping out everybody, right? Claymores to the world. And then, Jimmy could come out easily. And then, he's helping out. And then it's okay, we have Jimmy. And then maybe the next one to pop up is Brock Lesnar. And they are just dismantled across the board. And then, because I honestly do think Roman would be the last person to show up. I could even see Roman coming maybe the week of War Games. Maybe we have a situation where, Jey and Jimmy are being, knocked away, knocked off their horses. And, regardless of Roman saying, I don't want to see y'all till Christmas, still your family. So it makes sense to me for him to come out and, save them and, join the team as well. And you have all these beefs and mini beefs within people on the same team and opposing teams. Storyline-wise, we're cooking. We're cooking. I actually do like the setup of these teams. Cody really threw me off guard, if I'm being honest. Cody was the last person I expected. I thought, if anything, Cody Rhodes would have a match, like a championship match at Survivor Series. Preferably with Randy Orton or something, It didn't have to be right now either, but I think I've been waiting so long for Randy and Cody to happen, and they keep pushing it back. And I'm hoping after Survivor Series we kind of kick that off. Maybe at the Rumble, maybe they'll do it. Maybe at the Rumble, or maybe Randy could win the Rumble. Nah, I think Sami's running. Never mind. We'll see. But to the women, that's another one where I was kind of for a while how are we gonna do the women, because there hasn't really been ideal setup for what we could see for a women's War Games match. There hasn't been any any real clues or indication on things for the women. So, you know, on Raw, the Kabuki Warriors became the new tag team champions. They beat Charlotte and Alexa. We saw Lash Legend Nia Jax come out. And, you know, we saw returning Io Sky, Rhea Ripley. And, you know, Rhea blatantly said, War Games, you know. So we have our team of Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky against the Kabuki Warriors, Lash Legend, and Nia Jax. And I'm so happy that Lash Legend is getting this opportunity. I'm so proud of her. Like, she just came from NXT and it's just, bam, they're just throwing her, you know? And I really love that, and I think she needs that. She needs all the exposure that she can get because she's great. She's great. And I think putting her with Nia Jax was such a good idea. Like, I stand on that. Even though, like, storyline-wise, it was kind of like, you know, because they were just beefing in NXT a few months ago. But when you really take a look at it, it's brilliant to me because Nia Jax, they're just two powerhouses together, right? That's a scary team. In a good way. It's a scary team. They're very dominant. And then when they break up, it's going to be like, boom, you know? And Nia is a good person to push Lash, I feel, into like ultimate stardom because they had a good feud in NXT and I can't wait for that. But I also wonder with the women, are we going to do 4v4? Are we going to do adding 2 extra people? And those 2 extra people that I would like to see, I would love if we get a Becky Lynch and Aj Lee. I think that would just elevate it to a whole new level. And don't get me wrong, the War Games team for the women right now, if they do go this route, it's completely fine with me. But I think a returning Aj Lee would be pretty dope. I would like to see how she'd make out in War Games, you know, because she's never been in that environment. So I would be curious to see what that's like. I wouldn't be surprised if Aj Lee makes a return on Raw Monday as well. I could see a situation where Becky Lynch retains her title and she's just beating the crap out of Maxine, and maybe AJ comes to save her. And, you know, maybe something happens somehow. I don't know how they would do it storyline wise, where they kind of get put in cahoots, or, you know, maybe they'll have an Intercontinental Championship match at Survivor Series. But I wouldn't mind if those 2 did get added into the match. But nonetheless, I like the setup for War Games so far. The women kind of, you know, everything happening with that, I was like, that was just bam, you know? I didn't expect that to just pick up like that at all on Raw. I was kind of like watching, you know, looking at the date and stuff, and I'm like, we're getting pretty close. Like, what are the women gonna do? But now we know. And I think the women War Games match is gonna be great. You know, Io Sky always delivers in War Games. Like, she's one person, I could see her in War Games the rest of my life. Like, I would not be upset about it. I would not be mad about it. There's certain people for me with War Games matches where it's like they just fit, you know, and Io has, you know, the iconic trash can on her head and jump into the heavens. So it's just, that's just an Io Sky environment for me. You know, at this point, I've become so accustomed with Io being in War Games. So it feels weird to me if she's not, and I'm going to be like, But I love the setup. I think these are 2 very dominant teams. I cannot wait to see Lash Legend and Rhea Ripley. Like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, we're eating good. No, but I'm excited for the War Games teams, both ends. I feel like the teams are really good, and the storylines of it too, because, you know, you have the storylines leading up to War Games, and then we have storylines after War Games. What happens? Because, you know, the Kabuki Warriors and Lash and Nia are on the same team, but Lash and Nia are a tag team. So after War Games, or even during War Games, we want those belts, you know, from the Kabuki Warriors. So I'm interested to see how does that play out, because it's like we're in alliance right now, yeah, but at the end of the day, I want those titles. Like, this is only gonna go so far. So I'm interested to see how this plays out, and, you know, maybe we can see someone turn on someone, you know, as well. Wouldn't be surprised in that, because anything can happen in War Games. But as always, thank you for watching. Please make sure you enjoy the rest of your day. And, you know, as well, leave comments for me to let me know how you feel about the War Games teams. Are you happy about War Games? Are you like, what are we doing here, Triple H? You know, I'm interested to see. You know, I do content because I love to talk about wrestling with others as well. This is really the reason I started doing content, honestly. I had no wrestling friends, and now I have a lot of them. But yeah, let me know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and bye.